Ladies, gentlemen, Speakerhead Squad, what is going on? It is your boy Speakerhead and welcome back to another video. Sorry about not posting a video last week. I was busy with an anime convention, so I just didn't have time to make a video. And even though they didn't have any Transformer figures there, they ended up having a few cool anime figures which I ended up picking up. Right now I'll put them on screen, and honestly after picking up these figures it reignited my love for anime figures, so you might see some more of these on the channel. But right now we're not talking about anime, we're talking about Transformers. Now when it comes to Transformers, I absolutely love the original G1 series, but there's a few different character designs from different series that I absolutely love as well. One of those characters that always piqued my interest was going to be Tarn from the IDW series. I don't know much about the character besides that he's from the IDW series and he's part of the DJD, but just by character design alone I absolutely love the look of this guy. So when I saw that Hasbro was making this guy as a mainline figure, I knew I had to pick him up. So today we're going to be taking a look at Legacy Evolution Voyager class Tarn. Now roll that intro. But before we get into this review, if you enjoy any of the story content, make sure to like and subscribe, it really does help me out. Also, one like equals one pat for my little buddy Doug here. Say hi, Doug. Also, if you enjoy any of the music in this video or just want to support the channel in general, it's all part of my royalty-free music label, Speakerhead Studios. All the music on this label is completely royalty-free, so go ahead and use it for any of your content creating needs. Finally, I want to mention if you ever want to catch me live, I do stream over at Speakerhead Live on YouTube. But now that we got that out of the way, let's get into the review. And to start of this review, we're going to talk about accessories. So to start off, Tarn comes with two different blasters. Both these blasters have a slightly different design to them, but they both have the same nice purple paint applied to them. Then you can either have these plugged into his arms, holding them, or if you use the final accessory, which is going to be a rotating piece for the turret, then you can attach it to his arm and have a dual blaster on his arm. But now we're done talking about accessories, let's talk about the sculpt of this figure. Now when it comes to the sculpt of this figure, I think Hasbro absolutely nailed it. Like I said, I don't know too much about Tarn, but I do think that Hasbro really did a good job representing the character with this figure. Starting with the face, I absolutely love the sculpt of it. His signature Decepticon mask looks fantastic on this figure. Talking about his arms fast, I absolutely love the dual treads that he has for his shoulders. It just makes him look more beefy and more intimidating. Now moving on to the lower arms, there's nothing crazy, but I did want to mention that the hands are able to open and close, which is a really nice touch. Talking about the sculpt of the torso, I think it absolutely looks stunning. I like how they added some detail, but they didn't add too much to make it so it's messy. Moving down to the waist and the upper legs, once again, I think they look fantastic. Nothing much to talk about here, but just as before, I like how there is some detail to it, but it's not a crazy amount where it just looks like a mess. And then finally moving down to the lower legs, I really like how the sculpt of these look. I really like the sculpt work on the legs, and I also really like the big gold knee pads he has. But overall, I absolutely love the sculpt of this guy, and I think the proportions on him look fantastic as well. And then here's a quick 360 view of this guy so you can see him all the way around. And then you can also tell that he has really no gaps, which is something else I really like. But now that we talked about sculpt, let's move on to paint. Talking about the paint job on this guy, I think Hasbro once again did an amazing job for him considering it's a Voyager class. Starting with the head, his mask is painted that nice bright purple, which looks fantastic. Moving on to the arms, there isn't really much paint on here except for a little purple on the lower arms. Talking about his chest, the dark grayish purple on there is going to be plastic, but the rest of the bright purples are going to be painted on. Then I'm not quite sure because it is hard to tell, but it does look like he has some translucent pieces on his chest, which also is a nice little split up from the rest of the paint. Something else I really like about this figure is that he has a gold Decepticon symbol. Not too many figures have that, it's usually the basic purple or it's like a black, so I really like the gold on this guy. Then I also really do like the silver details they added on him as well. Moving on to the waist and upper legs, there's not going to be any sort of paint on them. Moving down to the lower legs and feet, there's going to be that nice purple paint which we talked about before. Then there's also that nice shiny gold paint which I mentioned before. And all of that together just looks fantastic on this figure. But now we're done talking about paint, let's talk about the posability of this figure. Talking about the articulation of this guy, I'm pretty happy with the amount of posability he has. Starting with his head, it's on a ball joint that's able to look all the way back. Then you're also able to tilt it left and right. Moving to his arms, they are a little bit weird how they're made. So his arms are two different parts. To start off, his arms are on hinges that are able to go all the way out to the side fine. But then on those hinges, his arms are able to rotate all the way around. Moving down to his lower arms, he is able to get more than 90 degrees with his elbow bend, which is nice. Also, if you want a little bit more posability, you can use this part in the transformation and move the lower arm inwards. I will admit it breaks up the sculpt a little bit, but if you need a little bit more posability, you can use it. Moving down to his waist, he sadly doesn't have an ab crunch, but he does have a waist swivel. Talking about his legs now, they're able to go all the way out to the side, all the way forward, and all the way back. Talking about his knees, he's able to get slightly more than a 90-degree bend, which is also very nice. Then talking about his feet, he has the ankle tilt up, down, and to the side. Overall, besides the weird joints in his arms, the posability on this guy is fantastic. And the best part is he's able to get into a kneeling pose, which is my personal favorite pose to get any Transformer in. Just because it's so difficult to find figures that are actually able to get into a good pose like that. Now that we're done talking about posability, let's talk about transformation. When it comes to transformation of this guy, I didn't know what to expect just because I don't own too many tank Transformers. But considering this is one of the first tank Transformers I've ever done, I think I did alright. I will admit I usually accidentally pop off his chest piece while transforming him, but it's not too big of an issue and you probably won't have that problem. There weren't too many spots I had difficulties with. Nothing too difficult and nothing got in the way, so there's nothing I can complain about. But overall, I think Hasbro did a great job on this guy's transformation. And I personally really enjoyed the transformation on this guy. It was really fun. But now moving on to the alt mode, I think it looks alright. Let's be honest, when Hasbro was making this figure, they're mainly focusing on the robot mode and thinking of a vehicle mode second. Because I personally got this guy for his robot mode, and I know many other people are getting him for the same reason. So as much as this alt mode is pretty lackluster, I think it's alright for what it is. One thing I do like is that it has its rotating turret, which is nice. And something else I personally like about the alt mode is that there's silver in the treads, unlike in the robot mode. But like I said, I think Hasbro did what they could with this mold, and I think it turned out alright. Right now I'm going to throw a picture up of Tarn and a few other figures so you can get a rough idea of how big he is. So moving on to my final thoughts on this figure, all I can really say is that I really like this figure. I think Hasbro did an excellent job on this guy, and I wish that they would make a lot of their other figures like this. He has barely any gaps, he has a great paint job on him, and he's very posable. And even if you got this guy in just a basic A stance, he really does look cool, so I highly recommend picking this guy up. But overall, that's my review on this guy. Let me know what you guys think down below. Let me know if you already have Legacy Tarn if you plan on picking him up. But once again, if you enjoyed any of this content, make sure to like and subscribe, it really does help me out. And once again, friendly reminder that 1 like equals 1 pat for my little buddy Doug. And finally, once again, if you enjoyed any of the music in this video or just want to support the channel in general, it's all part of my royalty-free music label, Speakerhead Studios, link in description. But I appreciate you guys checking out the video, and I'll catch all y'all in the next one. Peace!